to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports, and even entertainment. Join us weekdays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, good morning to you. It's a beautiful day indeed, and Nigerians are eager to see what the week brings. Okay, I can hear myself in the background, and that really isn't good. But let's start the day with some information for you. I always would want to start with what is on my mind. Well, I'm not alone to start with. I am Moses Humphrey, and I have my beautiful colleagues with me.
And I am Masinachi Okafo. Good morning.
And
Interestingly, it's a beautiful morning, and I kind of wonder how and why we keep hearing this. But of course, technically, to be gotten right. My name is David Edwin. It's a beautiful morning right here, and we are super excited to be here. The start of a beautiful weekend, and yes, a start of better things ahead. We say good morning again.
Start of better things. Well, interestingly, today Labour will be embarking on a protest, peaceful protest. Would that lead to a start of a beautiful thing? We'll wait to see.
Oh well.
It's a 2-day protest. We'll wait to see. Over the weekend, the news broke about a gorilla who gave birth, the very first gorilla to give birth using cesarean operation. In the US.
Okay.
I was expecting her expression.
That feels some type of way right now.
The moment she said that, I just looked at her like, okay, what's your reaction?
The gorilla was diagnosed of having preeclampsia. And that's when pregnant women come down with high BP, and then it makes it difficult for them to push.
Yeah.
So, and then they had to consult.
Okay.
And then the gorilla was...
This is a gorilla, for crying out loud. A gorilla!
It was interesting. It was interesting to read up on. It was really interesting. But that's one of the things on my mind. One of the things on my mind. But anyway, let's let you into the topics you're sharing this morning.
This morning we're talking insecurity, hardship for a short period. And this is coming from the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
And like I did say earlier, Labour will be starting its a protest, the awareness protest, if you want to call it that. But on the second topic, we're looking at Labour shifts ground on 1 million naira minimum wage as panel meets today. All right, these are the stories we're sharing.
Of course, these are the stories we're sharing today. But before we get into discussion, we encourage you to join us on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, please go on YouTube and subscribe to Voice of the People TV and on all other social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. As always, let's get into the newspaper to know what the newspaper is saying this morning. And I'm going to be kicking off with Daily Trust.
Before we get into the paper, let's introduce our guest. He honors us with his presence every Monday here, and we are most grateful to have Mr. Akin Fatunke, who is a public affairs commentator, a communications consultant, an elder statesman. Welcome to the studio this morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much, David, for not forgetting to introduce me.
This is Moses, that's David.
Oh my God.
Moses.
Yeah, Moses.
Yes.
He said David.
He said David.
Oh, okay.
Because David has been taking pictures of him this morning.
It
So
took
the love.
The love.
It took fantastic pictures of me. I thought Masinachi forgot me because she feels I will not be able to give back naturally like a gorilla.
Okay.
But here I am. Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. I'm happy to be here.
Good morning to you. Kicking off this morning, we have to start up with Daily Trust. And on top of the nameplates, we have rising cooking gas price. Nigerians resort to charcoal and firewood. The subrider says 12.5 kg nears 18,000 naira. Environmental hazard looms, says experts. FD mom on failed promise to crash price. Okay, this one we have hardship. Atiku Catholic bishops flay Tinubu's policies. Forex scarcity shrinks domestic airlines fleet by over 50%. FG not sure of crime to charge Emefiele with, says Agbabio. Okay, and then down here we have bandits kill 21 in Kaduna, Castina, recruit minors in Sokoto. And that's what we have for Daily Trust this morning.
Wow.
Mr. Ake, can you please tell us which one you'd want to react to here on the newspaper?
Well, which one should I react on? But to now see that we are getting to an epilogue. There was a prologue. I was on your station some time ago. Moses will perhaps remember when I concluded, and David should also remember, when I concluded that Nigeria has fast becoming a theater of drama and absurd. That was at the back of the Labour Congress. At that time, I'm saying they were demanding for 1 million naira. Moses, you remember, I said, if you look at the body language is not that Labour thinks they will be able to get 1 million naira. I think it's more of a balance of terror situation. They are not going to listen to us anyway. They are fast lost in their thoughts about taking care of their own hygienic needs, forgetting the hygienic needs of workers and the downtrodden. So coming out to say that they are going to come down on the 1 million is not a surprise. It's also not going to be a surprise, Masinachi, if you, at the end of the day, begin to come down to some 50, 60, plus inflation, which will not be able to
You mean
take care.
50, 60,000 naira?
Yes.
Addition to the 30,000, or just a summation of everything?
Well, some people are saying total should be about 100, but I think it's going to be less than 100. A few states that should be able to do 100.
Okay.
There are quite a number of states that we want to do 100, and that grieves me because I think virtually all states, if you ask me, since Bola Tinubu came on board, let me say since about July, August this year, all states should be able to do the minimum that we have prescribed, which is 30,000, which they are not doing. And it therefore tells me that Labour knows what they are gunning for.
Yeah.
You have to, the kingdom of heaven,
Okay.
the Bible says, has to
You
be
know,
forcefully
we'll be
taken.
talking about labor later. So let's shift away from this conversation about labor now. Personally, from that paper, what was that again?
Daily Trust.
Daily Trust.
Yeah.
Charcoal, Nigerians resorting to charcoal is one story that interests me, because even charcoal is not exactly cheap right now. Charcoal, a 20-ton kg of charcoal is about 4,000 naira right now. Now with this announcement, it is most likely that it will become a little more expensive, because everything we talk about becomes expensive.
It is going to be expensive on the latent level that we are talking about. So when your demand is more than supply, naturally, how many charcoal are we producing? How many are we envisaging we are going
Unprocessed
to
ones are even
produce?
4,000. The processed ones are more expensive.
So it tells you that it will naturally be expensive, but the expensivity is not so much in the demand and supply. The expensivity is on the carbon burning and environmental impact
Exactly.
Yes.
that will come. And don't forget that at the end of the day, we should not also forget firewood. People will resort to firewood and famed match to deforestation becomes a big challenge. Either way, the rule of things is saying you're not prepared for something, failed. You have failed from the onset because eventually it will continue to go down.
Now, I know, I understand that you are a bit big when it comes to the oil and gas sector. Well, permits me to use those words. But my question now is, can you just shed a bit of light on this increase in gas, cooking gas now?
Okay. Very simply, we got a bit of a priority wrong and pricing in dollars. The LPG in dollars.
So it still falls back to dollar again.
Government came in and said that no, we need to kind of ameliorate the situation where we get that and do the domestic pricing generally, whether it's for LPG, whether it's the one that you eventually use to get the Gencos, is it? Gencos to help us, telcos to help us in our electricity upstream. But that has not happened. You remember that we've done a bit of a seesaw when it comes to the fact that we cannot, as a nation, allow the forces of demand and supply to just go down the value chain. Dr. Yemi Cardoso kindly has also said that yes, there will be intervention in those areas so that at least it can come down, but it's coming a little bit too slow. Because it's coming too slow, therefore means that the lag will naturally result in prices going high. That's one. Then secondly, which is behavioral, Nigerians, unfortunately, despite our religiosity, and that's what I call it, going to church, mosques, shrines, we have this penchant to have been able to gather some things, and rather than think of the other man, we hoard. And when you begin to hoard, in expectation that when the thing becomes scarce, you'll be able to raise your prices. After all, the price to you and I is not closely regulated. Then you want to go for it. So that plan aspect of it, still believing that guns that will flare, and for the first time I'm happy, since you are putting that across, I'm happy that maybe for the very first time, known to my knowledge, Total Elf Field and NNPC had zero gas flaring sometime last week. So we have been flaring our wealth away. The IOCs, that's International Oil Companies, and NNPC, over the past 30, 40 years, are supposed to have implemented the non-flaring policy.
Right.
But hand goes into another hand and all that, and then corruption has held sway. So that's the reason why.
All right, thank you so very much. Let's just dive into another paper this morning. And I'll be kicking it off again with the Vanguard newspaper, where the banner headline reads, "Hardship Paralyzing Lives Nationwide." And this is coming from the Catholic Bishops and Christian Association of Nigeria. Now, the subrider here says, Nigeria in her worst of times with insecurity, economy graft, add hunger, causing serious humanitarian crisis. Federal government working to resolve economic challenges and others. Now, this is coming from the SGF. Above the nameplate there, you find rising cost of living may lead to social unrest in Nigeria and others. Now, this is coming also from the AFDB. Also above the nameplate, you find here Naira depreciation, inflation, eroding value of insured assets. Okay. Also, you find here on Edo 2024, APC gets 3 candidates. Agba threatens legal action. All right, you also find here a pictorial of President Bola Tinubu and the President of Brazil, none other than Inácio Lula da Silva, in that discussion there. By the side of it there, you find power grid drops to 3,530 megawatts as rationing persists nationwide. 12 die as bandits set fire on 17 houses in Kaduna village. Oh boy. Now below that picture there, you also find some headlines on food crisis, face governance, federal government, APC, slam PDP governors. Okay. And then the final headline here on the Vanguard newspaper, it's, okay, not really the final. Presidency, Atiku at war over federal government's forex policy. And then, yes, the one that looks like the final headline on 2026 World Cup qualifiers, Bafana will beat Super Eagles. Now, this is coming from a former player of the Bafana, Kumalo. All of these and more you find inside the Vanguard newspaper. But let me come straight to you, Mr. Akin. Which of this tickles your fancy to want to talk about?
The Catholic bishops of Nigeria have come out to say truth to power. The Catholic bishops of Nigeria have decided that with appropriate information and knowledge, inflation is all-time high, unemployment is all-time high, therefore poverty strickenness is all over there. Add that to security challenges that happens on a daily basis. You then talk about the fact that, I like the way that was put, the fact that we are coming from a trough, we are coming from a very low region. What one expected was policies that will help. I am in agreement that attempts have been made from policy directive to go and make sure we repair what needs to be repaired. What has been lacking is character. I dare say situations where we had nothing and we suddenly saw 20 out of 100. And from these 20, the rich, the nobles rich, the political class, the National Assembly, presidency are living a bit larger than life. That has not given a lot of encouragement to even you, David, and me, Masinachi, not to talk of Moses, trying to fasten our seatbelt. So the Catholic bishops are actually saying that this might, their words, might lead to unrest. We know it's already leading to grave unrest, and we have called on all parties, all stakeholders, the government, the governed, the subnational state governments, who right now, in my view, carry more than 60%. It's strange, but 60% of taking care of their people. They have more allocations, talking of going to trillions in their coffers. I don't see any reason why they will not have cleared arrears of salaries. There is a lot of insincerity there. And then Ajero is facing the federal. Okay.
Let me chime in on. So, there's this particular headline I would like you to help expatiate on. Power grid dropping to 3,530 megawatts, and then rationing persisting nationwide. This is not like the collapse of the grid. This is not like we don't have enough gas, or is that the reason? Why? I mean, we are rationing to start with, and then power is still dropping. When will, is it El Dorado that they call it? When will we find the solution to these things? I don't know if you slept with power last night. I didn't.
I did not.
And it's hot, really hot out there. How can a Nigerian maintain sanity when you wake up in a hot environment, you move around in a hot environment? How can you even think straight?
Not to talk of the economic implications.
Okay, so please add that to other factors we were talking about. Heat wave is there. There is no light. We are rationing.
And then we're resorting to charcoal again.
Okay, not only resorting to charcoal, I will be surprised at the level of sanity you can ever get from the average Nigerian. Get onto the road.
An average Nigerian is already very angry.
Go and put your ears to the ground to what your neighbor thinks of you. Moses says he didn't sleep with lights, but your neighbors still believe you sleep anyway. So how comes it that you sleep? Prescription drugs, for them, it's not there. How come you are able to do this? How come you are still looking shiny? I'm trying to make the point that it's an indicator that the hardship will continue. You asked,
Yeah, the
why
hardship will continue.
hardship is going to be added to the hardship. Don't forget, we've been having snippets of the fact that we have subsidy in that sector, and that subsidy is not helping to attract A, B, C, D, you know, the whole thing, just like we have in oil and gas, and the grid keeps collapsing. No doubt about that. And it's only what we have been able to produce. We are underproducing, according to the minister and the stakeholders, because we do not have enough. The whole thing is so subsidized, and government cannot, well, government is not thinking of going the whole hog to do and deregulate the tariffs like they've done in PMS. Either way, the bottom line is simple. Nigeria is excruciatingly poor. Nigeria is excruciatingly in a trough and in a place that is not very desirable. The leaders or rulers, we should call them, at all levels are in a state of panic and bit of confusion.
Are we
doubt
really
about it.
poor?
We are extremely very poor. You are poor if all what we have laid down, you cannot, for instance, say you are going to be able to send your children to school, you know they are going to come back safe and sound. You are poor when your income, or your revenue, as you say, it's just not there. Layoffs is going out at every nook and niche. You are poor when you cannot afford your prescription drugs. When you look at the ratio of doctors that we have right now to patients. You go to any of the hospitals, it's a sign of abject poverty. Then you are poor from the policy perspective. When inflation is hitting 30, food inflation is hitting 35, and it's not relenting, you are poor that even the rain that normally will fall, I say, oh, this is going to be harvest time in time. You cannot go to the farms because the kidnappers are all there.
All right.
All indices indicate that Nigeria is doing a Gestapo gra-gra. And in relative to the population that will keep on churning out, getting people, the IDP camps, people are not getting the best of anything. It's more so to now then say, even what the apparatus we put on are produced here in Nigeria. Our wigs are not produced here in Nigeria.
Would the layman,
and
the
our
layman,
consumption is not helping. It just tells you that you are taking more than what you can afford. You are in poverty.
So the layman on the street will look at you and say, I don't understand why you're saying we're poor. Is this as a function of government not doing what it's supposed to do, or as the word implies poor, that I, as a layman on the streets, don't even have money?
75% of the point that we did not plant yesterday, we cannot be thinking of reaping, whether policy-wise, whether our attitude.
So would that be the function? Would that be the function of the layman on the streets?
Is the function of policy. Okay, well, I said government. Okay, all right. Rulers who have stolen us blind, you are aware that monies that we need to use for the basic things, some people over the time, up till about yesterday, are still stealing, and more and more revelations are coming out. Now, the remaining 25% now lies with us as individuals. The way we do our elections, the way we allow ourselves to be monetized, and then we put what do you have in there for us and all that, and we're not standing up, even with amidst poverty, to not say certain things will not happen. The way we have continually imported goods that we cannot produce, 16-year-olds, and I know Masinachi is not in that group because she's not a very big girl, but I see 16-year-olds using iPhone.
Oh, those are the very big girls. Okay.
Bought for them by parents, knowing fully well and then they are applying their brains and their capacity to do the yahoo yahoo. In terms of potential, Nigeria is potentially rich. But in terms of actuality of getting that potential and then turning it around to benefit the vast majority of our people is not there. What are we talking about?
Quite unfortunate.
Solid minerals. What are we talking about? Even within this government, talking about blue economy.
Quite
We really
unfortunate
have not been able to get a lot. People say we are impatient. Yeah. We are 8 months. We are 9 months. True. Impatient for things that have been caused last year. The pilot in the plane up there will not now be saying that it's because the ground crew didn't put the correct fuel and all that, and then he gets out of the plane and the plane comes down. The buck is going to stop there because he has what we call checks and balances, operations integrity management that needs to be harmonized.
All right.
We now have somebody
we are pressed for time.
Yeah, in
We
the
are
help
pressed
of
for time.
affairs
Unfortunately,
that needs to move us forward.
we will not be able to take another daily, but
Okay.
just to put this information out there, NERC, they're talking about increasing the price of prepaid meters when we're talking electricity. So prepaid meters that have already gone up to single phase meters have gone up to about 80,000 thereabout. There's a likelihood it will be sold for about 100,000. So those who don't have it already will be stuck with estimated billing. And we do know that estimated billing comes with overcharging.
Yes, with the work. So, David,
So the problem just becomes.
You can see
Now,
why we are poor.
there are headlines, David. There are some headlines that David did not take when he read about Naira depreciation, inflation eroding value of insured assets. Now, this, in about a minute, just give me your thoughts on this. The sub-rider there is operators transfer more risks to reinsurers, capital flight through insurance to rise. Premium set to rise as operators advise inflation benchmark. Now, and then fears of resurgence in insurance apathy looming. So we're getting to a point where insurance firms will put the burden on the person that wants his life insured. We know the weather is hot. We know that fire outbreak might happen. Vehicles vehicle owners might get involved in accidents. But the fear of paying premium will make them not even want to insure their vehicles. So how then would people get reprieve for things done?
It tells you, therefore, that we're extremely poor, and the horizon is not looking very good. And insurance is risk management. The insurance are not out there as Father Christmas. And naturally, just like energy, they will look and assess your risks. Masinachi, jokingly, but I know there's a lot of seriousness in there, said he cannot understand how we are going to be able to keep our sanity. So if you do a life insurance, the insurance company are now looking at the fact that do you have your square meals? Is your health situation larger than life? And life expectancy eroding and reducing. Naturally, the appetite for risk is higher. So if you want to come and risk and we put all the actuaries together, it indicates that you have to pay a bit more. But there's something that is hidden and much more serious in what you read, and that the insurance levels are now going to reinsurance. What that says is that yes, I am an insurer, she's an insurer, he's an insurer, you want to insure, to be able to help us mitigate our risks, given the country risks, given the volatile exchange rate, we pull together and decide that we need to reinsure in case things go beyond the ordinary. The reinsurers also are looking at you as a country risk, and the kind of premium that you are now going to be paid, perhaps it's going to be priced in dollars.
Oh, right.
Now, when it's not going to be priced in dollars, where does that leave you? You are so correct, Moses, that downstream down the line, you will even fear to want to go for insurance. Where are you going to take insurance when you are not even eating? It therefore tells you that you are going from poverty to abject poverty. That is putting it very, very mildly.
All right, then now we've exhausted our time for the newspaper review. So let's get into one of our talking points this morning. The presidency has asked Nigerians to pray without ceasing in the face of economic hardship and security challenges. Well, details of this when we return. We'll probably hold hands during the break and say the prayer for Nigeria. We'll be back in a bit. Stay with us.